Hey, beautiful soul. You're listening to the Rising into Mindful Motherhood podcast, your weekly dose of fertility wisdom. I'm your host, Dr. Katie Wood. I'm a barefoot mama bear, pharmacist, and integrative fertility coach. This is your go-to podcast for all things to naturally nourish your fertility, embody womb healing, and reclaim your feminine power to accelerate your path to pregnancy. My expert guests and I will be having intentional conversations to discuss the many facets of a thriving, fertile foundation, natural wellness, and how we grow and transform as women on our journey to motherhood. So let's dive in, shall we? Hello and welcome to Rising into Mindful Motherhood. In this episode, I'll be talking with Taryn Firkser, a mama of three, holistic nutritionist, pregnancy nutrition specialist, and founder of Aubergine and Olive Holistic Nutrition. Her mission is to support women to confidently optimize their fertility for a healthy and thriving pregnancy. And in today's episode, we'll be discussing all about prenatal supplements, what you need to know, all the way from if you should take one in the preconception period to what to look for and avoid in prenatal supplements. So, welcome, Taryn. I'm super excited to have you on the podcast today and looking forward to this topic as well.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, so let's just dive right in. What is a prenatal supplement?
Okay, I think that's a great question because there might be some confusion about what a prenatal supplement actually is. We might hear the term prenatal supplement, prenatal multivitamin, prenatal multi, or some people will just even call it a prenatal. So essentially, what it is, it's a multivitamin supplement product designed for pregnancy that includes various vitamins, minerals, and other nutritions that may be of some kind of importance during pregnancy. And that does sound vague, but that's the point because there is no standard formula for prenatal supplements. So this means that each company and each brand has their own specific formulation. And as a result, prenatal supplements vary in terms of which nutrients are included, the amount of each nutrients, and also what else is included. So things like preservatives and sweeteners and colorants and things like that. So that's why if you take two different brands of prenatals and you compare the ingredient list side by side, you'll notice a ton of differences.
Absolutely. There is such a variety. So I'm not sure if you're aware, I'm a pharmacist. I used to work in retail pharmacy for some time, and every once in a while I'd have someone come in asking about prenatals and just showing them what is on the shelf, what is available in store. There would just be variation there, let alone when you go on the internet and just see how many options are available to women these days. And it can be really hard to know what to look for, what to take. It can be overwhelming, really, to know what is best to take if you don't really have that background education.
Yeah, I remember when I was pregnant and seeing that wall of supplements and also having no idea how to choose and what the difference was and just randomly picking one because I don't know, they all seem the same to me. And but now I understand that there are differences, some subtle and some not all that subtle, but it's
Mhm.
hard to find that information on your own.
Yeah, and just thinking of what you were just sharing there, probably what you decided to choose was based on marketing because the front of the label
Yeah.
can be so deceiving. It can make it seem like it's this comprehensive prenatal, whatever it may be. And then you look at the nutrition label and it's like, this is actually missing a lot of key nutrients that we want to look for in a prenatal vitamin.
Yeah, that could definitely be the case.
What are your thoughts? Should women be taking prenatal supplements before they even get pregnant?
So this is a question that I hear very often from clients, and I have a big problem with it because I hate the word should. I feel like, especially as women, we get should on all the time by
Mhm.
our doctors and by health practitioners in general. And I think that we need to take that onus off of us and look at it as a different way, that it's a choice. So there is no should you or shouldn't you, do you have to or you do not have to. The answer is really that it's up to you. It's your choice. And it's really up to you to take whatever information you can and use that to decide what's best for you and for your future baby, because we all have that responsibility to ourselves. So now, when making a decision, do you need to take a prenatal before getting pregnant? You don't have to. Like I said, for the vast majority of women, you can absolutely have a healthy pregnancy and a healthy baby with the right diet and lifestyle and without taking a prenatal. And flipping it around, women who take a prenatal before conceiving aren't guaranteed that healthy and happy pregnancy.
Yeah, that's a very interesting way of looking at it. And what I'm hearing you say, and from my understanding, and what I typically recommend is we shouldn't be relying on a prenatal to give you a healthy pregnancy. There are other things like nutrition should really be coming first. And in my mind, prenatals are really there to just fill in any gaps. And like you said, even if a woman is taking a prenatal, it doesn't guarantee that. I think you said she'll have a healthy pregnancy and things like that, because a lot of times if you are taking certain prenatals, one, they may be missing very vital nutrients, and two, depending on how the prenatal was created, our bodies may only be able to absorb very limited amounts of the nutrients themselves that are included in the prenatal.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. And I really believe that a prenatal vitamin is rarely a good substitute for a diet of real healthy food. You can take the world's best prenatal supplement out there, but it's so unlikely that that unicorn supplement is going to give you everything you need in the exact right form that you need and only the things that you need. So relying on food and our diet to get our nutrients should be the number one go-to.
Mm-hmm. So, what nutrients are you looking for in a prenatal when you're recommending them to a client? What are ones that you're like, yep, it needs to include this, 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 and that?
So I don't have a standard list because everyone is different. And it really depends on your personal circumstances, your diet, your lifestyle, and your history. But there are things that I look for in a prenatal to make a decision on, is this particular product good quality or not? And I have a few kind of quality clues that I look for. The first thing that I'll look for, basically, really the first top thing is the form of the nutrients that are included. And my kind of go-to nutrient there is folate or folic acid. I think we hear a lot in the prenatal world about folic acid and how vital it is for baby's development, especially in early pregnancy, and therefore its importance in the preconception stage. But what we don't hear about is that folic acid is actually the synthetic form of the nutrient, folate, which is the natural form. And what we really don't hear about is that a vast majority of women actually can't absorb folic acid in that synthetic form. So you might be taking ample amounts of it, but you're not really getting anything from it. It's also the cheaper option because it's synthetic. So a really great way to tell if a supplement is good quality is to look whether it includes folic acid, the cheaper option, or if it includes folate, or even better, methylfolate, which is the more expensive option, but it's the better quality one that you're going to absorb much more of. And so if the supplement includes folate, then that's a really great sign that the company didn't cheap out on good quality ingredients and that it's likely choosing the better quality options. A
Mhm.
couple of other things that I look for in terms of quality is I also look at what's in the non-medicinal ingredient list. So I mentioned earlier, so this could include things like binders, fillers, preservatives, colors, sweeteners, all kinds of things. If you pick up a product that has a whole long list of things that you can't even pronounce, let alone know what they are, that's a sign that it's maybe not the best quality product versus something else that has a short list of non-medicinal ingredients of things that you can mostly recognize. The other thing I will look at is the dosage. It's really pretty much impossible to fit sufficient amounts of good quality nutrients into one pill or one capsule. So supplements that recommend taking just one pill a day you're not going to be able to get everything from that one pill, or they're using poor quality forms so that they can really get it into one pill. An indication of a quality supplement would be something where you have to take multiple pills or multiple capsules per day so that you're getting the ample amounts of good quality nutrients. And then the last quality clue that I look for is third-party certification. So some kind of indication that the product has been reviewed and approved for things like for safety, for efficacy, and for quality by an objective third party. So if you're looking at these kind of clues, you'll be able to get a sense of, is this one product on the shelf a good quality product versus this one? And then based on your personal circumstances, then you can go deeper into, okay, what actually do I need out of a supplement? Do I need iron? Do I need vitamin D? Do I need folate? Things like this.
Mm-hmm. And going back to the folic acid, I feel like this is where women can get really confused or they're just unaware of the folic versus folate because their doctors are like, yep, get a prenatal, but it needs to have folic acid in it. But if you don't understand that folic acid is the synthetic form and that you want to look for the methylated version, the folate, the natural form, then a lot of times we're getting supplements that have that folic acid in it instead. So I feel like that's one of the nutrients that can really, really get people stuck because they don't necessarily have the awareness, and some doctors just aren't educating their patients that this is what they should look for.
Yeah, and even more worrying than the fact that women may not be getting enough folate because they're taking the folic acid form is that studies are now showing that high doses of folic acid can actually contribute to miscarriage. It's actually possible that you're doing harm by taking folic acid as opposed to folate. But as a holistic nutritionist, my advice would be to get your folate from food because then you're getting the highest quality form of it that's the most absorbable, and you don't have to worry about what else you're getting along with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in taking that piece that you just mentioned, if you're taking a supplement with folic acid, and then maybe you're having a highly processed diet where you're eating fortified foods, you're just getting a lot of that synthetic folic acid into your diet and in the supplement as well. So that is really an important piece to look out for. So you had mentioned that you maybe look for specific nutrients depending on the person's situation and what's going on for them. So I'd love to hear what some of those look like for you. In my mind, I'm thinking if a woman can't tolerate eggs or she doesn't eat eggs for whatever reason, then we'd probably want to find a supplement that has choline in it. I'd be curious to hear if there are any other kind of situations that you've seen in the past with clients where you're like, hey, this is going on for you. Let's make sure, let's prioritize that this nutrient is in your prenatal.
Yeah, it's really is specific to the person because we're all individuals, but there are some common patterns that I will see more than others. So omega-3s is a big one. So these are our essential fatty acids that we get from things like seafood and nuts and seeds and things like that. And the thing about omega-3s is DHA in particular is super, super important to have in ample amounts preconception because it's what your baby needs for their development, particularly for their brain development and their eye development. And this is takes place super early in pregnancy, like in the first 8 weeks of pregnancy, when some women don't even realize that they're pregnant and may not be fortifying their diet or taking a prenatal supplement. So having really sufficient, ample amounts of these nutrients before you're pregnant and allowing yourself to build up those nutrient stores is really important. So if, for example, a woman came to my practice who didn't eat any seafood or ate a heavily processed diet, then we might want to consider supplementing with a good omega-3 supplement, especially one that has a good amount of DHA so that her stores are high enough so that her baby has enough for its development in those early weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Some other things I might look at is iron, although I think a lot of us get a good amount of iron. If someone eats a vegetarian or vegan diet or a highly processed diet, we might have a look at that. But iron is another one that might be an issue. And then vitamin D, especially those of us that live in a climate that is a little bit chilly this time of year. or those of us who work indoors and don't spend a lot of time outside, there is a decent chance that we may be deficient in vitamin D. But another one that's really important to have for that early fetal development. So that might be another one to look at.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So this might be hard to answer, but I'm curious. Do you have any go-to supplement brands that you like?
I have never found the perfect supplement. Like I said, there's no unicorn supplement. There's nothing that I love that has everything in the right amount and nothing else. Really, my go-to is food. But if that's not an issue, not a possibility, and someone needs to take a supplement, again, it depends on the person. There are some good quality brands out there that are definitely better than others. It's nothing that you're going to find at your pharmacy or at Costco or anything like that. These are
Mhm.
things that you'd have to get from a more specialized place. So I have a few of these in my dispensary, and these are the ones that I would recommend. But it also depends where in the world you are. So here I'm in Canada, so it might be different than what someone, say, in the US would have access to. But looking at for those quality clues, wherever you're buying your supplements will help to choose a good quality product.
Mhm. And what are your thoughts? So I know that there are some prenatals that are made with food-based ingredients versus being like a synthetic lab created. Have you ever compared or looked at those for your clients?
Yeah, so there's the positive and the negative side to those. Supplements that are made with whole foods, in theory, I prefer them. The forms of the nutrients included are much more bioavailable, so they're more highly absorbable. Compliance can be an issue because those kind of supplements sometimes have a taste to them, like they have an aftertaste, and the pills can be a little bit big. So some clients just won't take it.
Mm.
So if you've decided that a supplement is the right choice for you, choosing a product that you're not going to take just doesn't make sense. So
Mhm.
in that case, it might be better to take a different kind of product. But if you're the kind of person who doesn't have an issue with tastes or pill size or things like that, then it's definitely worthwhile trying.
Valid point, valid point. And that brings to mind, I know that some women have issues with nausea with their prenatal supplements. Would you have any recommendations for anyone who's possibly experiencing that?
Yeah, so one of the biggest links to nausea with supplements is iron. Um, not most, but quite a few prenatal supplements will include iron. And like I said earlier, I don't think that all that many women actually need to be supplementing with iron. But if you do find that you are getting nauseous from your supplement, have a look and see if it does include iron. And if it does, try switching to a different product that doesn't include iron. Maybe even ask your doctor to test your iron levels to see if you even need to be supplementing with iron to begin with. And this applies more in early pregnancy, but a lot of women who do experience nausea often also have a deficiency in the vitamin B6.
Mhm.
So you might want to also look at whether or not your supplement includes B6. And if it doesn't, maybe choose a product that does so that you're boosting that a little bit in case that is what may be contributing to the nausea.
Great tips. Thank you. And let's see, another thought that came through. What are your thoughts on gummy prenatals? Because I remember those were available in the pharmacy, and I know that they can be pretty common. And if a woman maybe has trouble swallowing, especially bigger tablets and capsules, she might go and reach for a gummy prenatal. So, what are your thoughts on those?
Yeah, gummies can be great because they taste good and they almost feel like a treat. I know for my kids, they love the supplements in the form of gummies, and sometimes we'll make our own. But the reality is that the products that are made in gummy form are very often not high quality. So you won't get those quality ingredients, and you're often getting a lot of those fillers that aren't great for you. So yes, their compliance might not be a huge issue, but you're thinking about then what you're actually taking in. You'd have to consider, are those forms and those ingredients really the best choice for you? And if swallowing pills is an issue, it's possible to think about not taking a supplement and again getting your nutrients from a real food diet.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. I feel like we covered a lot of really, really great tips, but I want to make sure, is there anything that we didn't touch on that you find is just really important and we don't want to miss.
I guess one thing we could talk about is if someone decided not to take a prenatal supplement before pregnancy, what could their diet look like? How could they make sure that they're getting the nutrients that they need instead of taking it in supplement form? My opinion and in my practice, I really think that food is best and that getting our nutrients from where nature intended, from our food, is absolutely the best choice. And when I say food, I'm not talking about processed food, junk food, fast food, things like that. I'm talking about real food. And in fact, that's my number one golden nutrition rule is to eat real food. And what I mean by that is simply food that is made by nature and not food that's made in a factory. If your diet consists of, nobody's perfect, so we wouldn't say 100%, but say 80% real food, you're doing great. Chances are you are getting ample amounts of everything that you need just from eating, focusing on whole food. So we're talking about things like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, meat, dairy, legumes, all those kind of things. So things again that are in their natural form and haven't been packaged and processed. If you are concerned, you might want to think about, are you getting enough protein? If you eat meat, are you eating a decent amount of meat to get your protein? If you don't eat meat, are you eating an okay amount of other forms of protein, such as tofu and legumes and nuts and seeds and things like that? And then in terms of the micronutrients, getting a real range of fruits and vegetables, that's where you're going to get like all those like vitamin C, vitamin E, all the B vitamins, your magnesium, your iron, all kinds of things like that. You can get really great amounts from your fruits and vegetables. And just by focusing on real food, like I said, you can get pretty much everything that you need. But again, quality, the best quality that you can. So focusing on organic when it's feasible and affordable, focusing on high fat dairy rather than the low fat, focusing on good quality pasture raised meat and eggs, things like that, where again, you're getting a good quality product rather than a poor quality product so that you're getting more bang from your buck and you're getting more nutrients from those. Absolutely, you can go that way and go on to have a healthy pregnancy, getting everything you need just from focusing on real food.
100%. And I've even considered if we were to have another one, I don't even know that I would take a prenatal again. I think I would just focus on food first, which I did in my other pregnancy as well, but I also took a prenatal. So I 100% agree with you. Food first and just really focusing on all of those things that you shared, which are just so important for mama and baby as well. Now, if someone is vegan or vegetarian, what are your recommendations for them? They're not getting the heme iron and B12 can be hard for them to get as well. So do you have any specific thoughts on that?
So, for someone who doesn't include animal products in their diet, first, I would recommend getting your blood tested so that you have an idea of what your iron and your B12 and other important nutrient levels are, so that if you need to supplement or you need to boost them. And then focusing on, again, a real food diet. There's so much processed vegetarian and vegan food out there. And just because it's plant-based doesn't mean it's healthy. So focusing again on the fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, things like that, you can really do a lot with it. And I think a lot of women, particularly vegans, are told that they can't have a healthy pregnancy without animal products. And I absolutely do not think that is true. I think it just takes a lot more care and strategic planning. And that's where someone like me can come in to help guide you so that you know that you're getting everything that you need from your diet or supplements if you need them, and you're not missing out on any critical nutrients for yourself and for your baby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely very critical, making sure that you are educated and have the knowledge to be able to serve your baby with the right nutrition if you're going to avoid certain foods. So I know you have a freebie for the audience, a 3-day pregnancy prep meal plan. I'd love for you to share a little bit about that.
Sure. Oftentimes we think, okay, eat real food. That sounds a lot easier than it actually is. What does that actually look like and what does it mean? So I put together this guide just as a sample, as an example of what it can look like to eat real food and to eat in a strategic way so that you are targeting the key nutrients. So in this free guide, you get like a schedule for 3 days for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. You get recipes for everything that's included in there. And there's also a shopping list just to get you started so you have an idea of what nourishing yourself and your future baby can look like through food.
Amazing. And having a shopping list just makes it so much easier for people.
For
So the
sure.
link for that will be in the show notes. And let the listeners know where they can find you, connect with you, and learn more from you.
Sure. So I have a website that's www.aubergineandolive.com. And on there is all the information about me and about working with me. I also have a blog up there and recipes as well. I'm also on Instagram at Aubergine and Olive. And yeah, those are the best places to find me.
Amazing. Thank you so much for this conversation, Taryn. I think that they are all really, really important things to think about when deciding if one, taking a prenatal supplement is for you, and two, how to pick out the best supplement for you as well.
Thanks so much for having me on and let me talk about this.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Rising into Mindful Motherhood podcast. If this episode resonated with you or gave you an aha moment, stop what you're doing right now and write a review. This simple act of kindness helps me get this podcast out to connect with as many women as I possibly can. I also have a special offer. If you send me a screenshot of your review, I will take $250 off one of my premium coaching containers. Let me know what resonated with you the most and why. So connect with me in my free Facebook community or tag me on Instagram. You'll find both listed below. Thanks again from the bottom of my heart for tuning in to this episode, and I'll see you next time.